So the time photocell, let's have a look what we get. In the box you will get a set of instructions. Very basic. At Night Lux we try not to inundate you with unnecessary paperwork. Shows very simply how it all fits together, and it actually runs through the timer functions. You also get a wall mount, so you can drill a hole, bang this into the wall, and your photocell will then screw into that fixture. Or the most common is the spike, which will screw onto the bottom of the photocell. This is to enable the photocell to be placed in a garden bed. Now, when placed in the garden bed, it's always a good idea to keep this out of shady garden beds. The actual lighting system is triggered by a photocell initially. So if this is in a dark location, or it's in a location where it's in constant shadow, this could be coming on earlier and switching off later than you want. Inside the actual photocell, we have various settings. You have an off setting, which means that the photocell won't operate at all. You have an on setting, which means that this actual unit will be on permanently 24 hours. You can then go to a dusk and dawn setting. As soon as it becomes to the level of dusk, which does change every single day, the photocell lens here will pick that up and trigger and bring on your photocell. When that happens, this orange amber light will come on. On this setting, dusk to dawn, this will come on at dusk, and when the light value is high enough, it will switch off at dawn. We've also given you 3 separate timer options: 4 hours, 6 hours and 8 hours. In the summertime, when dusk is 9 PM, you may wish to set this to 4 hours. This will then trigger at approximately 9 PM if that is the dusk time, and switch off 4 hours later. In the winter time, when dusk can be as early as 4 PM, you might want to move this up to 8 hours. This will then trigger when dusk hits the correct light level. In this example, we're using 4 PM, and will switch off 8 hours later. This unit is IP68 rated and will quite happily sit in a garden bed in all weathers. If you're having a party or an event and you don't want your lights to switch off after 4 hours, you can simply go to the photocell, move it to dusk to dawn. That will now operate dusk to dawn until you change the time setting. Always be aware with plant growth, if plants grow over this photocell, it will affect the on and off times. Like all Night Lux products, maximum wattage going through this is 105 watts. The good thing about this photocell is that once fitted, your garden lights will be coming on automatically. So if the client is away for a week, 2 weeks, the actual lights will still be switching on and off, which gives the impression that someone's actually at home still. You can also break your garden down into areas. So for example, if you've got some lights that are very close to the house, you could set this up to be on dusk till dawn. So if you had, for example, 10 lights very close to the house, this actual photocell would come on at dusk and switch off at dawn. That will give you slightly more protection to the back of your house. Don't forget, all the lights are LED and are very, very inexpensive to run. For bigger trees or areas further down in the garden, you could fit another one of these photocells, and you could perhaps have this one on for one of the timed options. So a typical scenario would be all lights coming on at dusk. The bottom of the garden or areas that aren't close to the house could switch off, for example, at midnight. And the area that's close to your house will switch off at dawn. It's 12 volt, so extremely safe, and you haven't got to be a qualified electrician to fit it. One thing to mention here, please be aware and please make your customers aware that they will not be able to control this unit from inside the house. So it is very much an automated switching system. With garden lighting, we always recommend that the lighting is carried out automatically and not just switched on when you need it. Especially if you are going away several times a year, you do want to give the impression that someone is still at home. For front garden lighting, it's essential because you do not want to have to come in through your front door and switch on your lights behind you. You want your lights to come on at dusk so that when you come home in the dark, your lights are on. As a caveat to that, we are actually working on a Wi-Fi enabled timer controller where you will actually be able to set physical on and off times, all run through an app which will be connected to your phone.